Good afternoon. Today we're going to be looking at D2L and evaluating it as a learning management system. My name is Leanne Poston, and I've set up a model course here for us so that we can evaluate its useful features. The key things we're going to be looking at today is setting up the course and adding modules to it, adding third-party content, adding HTML documents, and then finally adding HTML pictures. So let's get started. So as we compare these two learning systems, D2L and Canvas, we're going to check to see which of the two is more efficient, more intuitive, and more functional for both our faculty and staff. As I mentioned, for this week, we're going to be comparing setting up a course, creating modules, adding third-party content, creating content using an HTML editor, and adding images to HTML editor pages. So the first thing we need to do is set up our course. We're going to do that by going to Course Administration and setting up our home page. So I'm going to click on Home Pages. There are already some home pages that are set up for you, but you can feel free to create your own home page. And I created one called D2L and Canvas Learning Management System Comparison. You can add a description to it, and in this case I'm going to make it widget-based because then I can choose from all the options that are available. And you can choose a layout. So you can see that I chose to add 3 equal panels and have smaller ones in the middle. After that, you can add widgets. So I'm going to skip ahead to one of the ways to add a third-party content. And here you can see Atomic Learning is one of the third-party contents that we can add. And you can do that just by clicking on Add a Widget and choosing what widget you want to add. We'll get back to a second way to add third-party content. All right, so that's how you're going to set up your course. You can see there's multiple options to choose from there, including your format as well as the theme for your homepage. All right, the next thing you need to do if you're going to have a class is you're going to need to set up students for your class. Now, I've already enrolled the students that are currently in the class, but you can see what if I wanted to add one more? I would click on Add Participants and then Add Existing Users. After I added existing users, I have the option of searching for either their last name, their first name, or their W number. So what I did is I searched for my last name, and you can see that I got a number of different candidates. And what I can do is click on one of them and then assign them a role and enroll selected user, and now they're in the class. So this is a very straightforward process if it's an existing user. If it's not an existing user, then you're going to have to add them. You're going to have to ask CATS to put them in the system so that you can add them to your course. All right, the next thing you want to do is create modules. And there are 2 ways to go about doing that. The first thing you can do is go into Course Admin and then into Course Builder. So if I click on Course Builder here, you're going to see on the left-hand side I have a number of different options and a course tree in the center. So this is the module option, and I can click and grab that module option and drag it over to my course tree here. So if I was going to be working on week 1, I can add a module here, and I can put the name of it in and the content information and create that module. All right, the second way to create a module is to go to the Contents section. And if you scroll down once you're in the Contents section, you can see there is an Add a Module section. All I need to do at this point is type in the name of the module. Once I type it in and enter, I will have these 3 dashes here. And once I get those 3 dashes, I can rearrange my modules in any way that I want. So if this was a sample module, there you go. You can see my sample module is successfully added there. All right. And then I'd have to go into Course Builder in order to remove that sample module. All right, I showed you one way to add third-party content, but I'm going to show you a second way. So if we go back to Course Administration and then back to Course Builder, you can see in addition to adding a module, there is adding a link. So what I can do is click on adding a link here, choose the location I want it, and then select the location that I want this. Now this one's a placeholder so that I can choose later where I want it. Here is an actual content one, so I'm going to go with that. So after I choose my link here, I'm going to, the instruction was to add an external tool. All I have to do is click on that, and then you can see all of the choices I have as far as quick links that I can add to my course. They can be added anywhere. The other way that I showed you how to add third-party content actually puts it on the home page as a widget. All right, our next assignment was to create content using an HTML editor. So you can either do that on the course admin page using Course Builder, or you can add a file. So since we just did the Course Builder page, I'm going to add a file this time. And all I have to do is create a file. Once I create a file, I add a title for it. And after I add that title, you can see that a box opens where I can add HTML content. And I can either type it in, or I can copy and paste it in here. And it's going to be in rich text format, but it can be converted to HTML if I want to. So that way it can be moved around into different documents. Notice that I have the option of formatting in paragraph form, bolding, italicizing, underlining, making lists, indenting, changing the font, and even adding tables and symbols. Okay? After you're done with that, it's very simple. All you need to do is publish it, and now you've got your file. But the final task that we were tasked with was adding images to HTML editor pages. And we'll do that since we're already in that section. What you'll do is you'll move your cursor down to the place that you want to add your image. Then you click on Insert an Image, and then choose where you want to get your image from. You can either get it from your computer, you can get it from other files, or you can get it a URL. So if I would click on Upload from my computer, I'm going to take this screenshot here and put it in, and then I can add it right into it. It gives me the option of adding alternative text or saying it's a decorative piece or picture. Now you can see that it's in my HTML format here, and all I have to do is publish it. So there you go. Those were the 5 tasks that we were instructed to use when we are using D2L. We're going to be comparing that to Canvas in the next video. I hope this was helpful.